keep it live, that's right. From Pennsylvania to across the globe, it's time for the Steelers All-Star Show.
Welcome to the Steelers by Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-hosts Cody, Jill, and Nick. How are you all doing on this Victory Monday?
We're eating W's, as what's his name would say.
James Winston.
James Winston. No, I'm doing fantastic. I'm enjoying the feeling of what it feels like to watch an actual decent offensive performance outside of a running game that was almost non-existent. It's nice to see us be able to throw the ball again, and I'm going to leave it there right now. Jill, how are you?
I'm doing great because I didn't have to watch multiple 3-and-out drives. It was wonderful. Nick, how are you doing?
Had a long day, but it's a Victory Monday, so I cannot complain. James, how are things for you today?
Victory Monday is just everything tastes better. You know, the birds are chirping a little louder in the morning. Everything about it's better. So it's a great day to be a Steelers fan and to look at things and say, man, we haven't had a guy can throw the ball like this in a good 5 or 6 years. So grateful for this feeling the morning after.
Yeah, it's definitely a foreign feeling for us. It's been a little bit honestly, and ironically, I feel like the last time I felt this good was watching Justin Fields in the black and gold. And it's been a minute. So, and it wasn't even this good. Let's clarify, but it's been a while. Like that was the closest thing as recent. So, yeah, what a time. What a time.
What a time.
So on to our topics as we get going on the show here. Cam Hayward, we talked a lot about him last couple of weeks, talking about how he wanted money, and he got money. Got a $3.2 million raise for this upcoming season, but it's all incentive-based.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh has to get to the playoffs. They have to win some playoff games. That's how he gets paid on this. I kind of like the way they structured this because I think this is going to have the team kind of rallying around him. Cam has not been able to see the Steelers have a deep playoff run in his time with the team. And really, if anybody deserves to see the success of the team, as long as he's been there, as loyal as he's been to the team, as good as he's been, one of the best at his position almost his entire career, he really deserves it. So I'm hoping that the way they structured this is going to be a rallying cry to his teammates to really make a push in December and January and maybe even February for the first time in a very long time.
Yep.
We can only help.
Yeah, we can only help. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that all of the Bengals fans in our TikTok comments can be quiet now because they didn't like that I was talking about Cincinnati not paying their defensive players, and so they were saying, Cam Hayward, when are you going to pay him? And I was like, there you go. It's incentive-based, just like I told you it was going to be. So you can slow your roll.
It's also a little different when we have guys under contract. I mean, we had already extended TJ Watt, all these things. They were being sticklers about, a guy that, I don't know. It was a little bit different in my mind.
Drastically, they have one good defensive player and they didn't want to pay him.
Yeah.
One. Mm-hmm. Like they let everybody else that was good go. Jesse Bates, they let him leave town. Everybody that's been good on that defense, they let leave. And Hendrickson, here he is, leads the league in sacks, and they don't want to pay him. Oof. It's just a bad look, man.
When you barely beat the Brownies by 1 point in week one, it shows. And the offense struggled too. But again, this is the Steelers show, so we'll leave the Bengals in where they belong. But
for now,
we're coming for you.
We will get there in no time, I'm sure. In other news, before the game, James Pierre got promoted for game day, so he was an active guy. We did see him play a little bit of special teams. Inactives for the game was Skylar Thompson, Derek Harmon dealing with that injury, Andrus Pete also dealing with an injury, Max Sharping, Nick.
Andrus is a healthy scratch.
Was he healthy? Okay, I don't know why I thought he had an injury. Max Sharping, Nick Herbig, and that guy.
Asensio Tomewo.
I'm just never gonna try with that.
We know your strengths, Cody, and we love you anyway.
Yeah. One strength that I have is the fact that I got to watch this game at a pretty awesome place, and that is the Edinburgh Hotel Bar.
Supporters of Steelers by the Lake are the Edinburgh Hotel Bar at 100 Meadville Street in downtown Edinburgh, with a full menu including daily lunch and dinner specials and a family-friendly, smoke-free environment. Details are available at 814-734-5103 or online at edinburghhotelbar.com. The Edinburgh Hotel Bar, where you had me at hotel.
And there's a look at the stadium where we kick butt at. So let's get into this.
Bold statement.
I say kick butt from an offensive standpoint. When was the last time we had a quarterback throw 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions? I'm not looking that up, but
yeah, Russ might have done it last year. He did have a couple nice games, but
that's true.
The only butt kicking I saw was Chris Boswell kicking a 60-yard field goal for the game winner, but that's just me.
Well, that's something we're familiar with, is relying on Boswell's toe. Always. Yeah. Always.
Yeah. That is true.
And what a game out of Bos. If we're going to start there, let's start there, man. 56 yards and 60 to seal the game. 60, a career long for him, a record for the Pittsburgh Steelers organization for any Pittsburgh Steelers kicker. I didn't think he could have been any better than he was last year, but apparently he is better.
With room to spare.
Yeah. That was sailing.
Let's be real. He could have had that another 5 yards out the way that went through the uprights. So very impressive day for Chris Boswell, and there's a reason that he was an All-Pro last year in the NFL. He is the best kicker in the NFL, period.
No,
I love Tomlin's comment after the game. He goes, "Our kicker is a serial killer. He has
what a
low
weird
pulse."
comment to make.
It was just like
so weird.
I thought it was amazing. I loved it.
Of all the ways to compliment him, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I mean, a strange.
Go ahead, Cody.
No, just a strange place to start for going over stuff. But like Boswell literally had a perfect game, which is something we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's almost because of the stupid preseason with Cam Little hitting a 70-yarder. I feel like this is going a little bit under the radar. Like a 60-yarder to win a game in week 1 is like prime football.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just crazy to me. And I wish it shouldn't, on paper, it shouldn't have even gotten this close.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Absolutely. And, let's be real about this. If we start at the quarterback position like we oftentimes do, right? The leadership from Aaron Rodgers, he really got him moving down the field many times. But this was also the best game that Justin Fields has ever played in his life.
He did,
including college football. He was collected in the pocket. He didn't panic and walk into sacks like you saw a lot while he was playing for Pittsburgh. In fact, he broke through a lot of arm tackles of guys attempting to sack him.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Y.A. Black probably had an arm around him at least a couple of times. Didn't get him to the ground along with
T.J. Watt almost got there a couple times.
Yep. Yeah, so just a tremendous performance by Justin. Really, you could tell he was highly motivated to try to make Pittsburgh look bad for the decision of moving on from him.
Yeah.
He gave his best effort. If he plays like that all season long, then Pittsburgh will probably regret moving on from him. I just feel like it's not real likely that he's going to keep that up. But
based on that performance, you could make the argument that Pittsburgh looks bad moving on.
Well, I mean,
based on that performance alone.
In a vacuum, sure.
Justin Fields just got beat by a 41-year-old guy that most people had written off as far as being washed and done with the league. That's true. So it depends on how you want to look at it. It was still a losing performance for Justin. It was a very good performance. His team still lost.
Yeah.
Yep. That's fair. The one thing that I think you could say is there's zero fault on Justin. Like even that last play, that pass to Garrett Wilson, that was just a phenomenal, and we'll get to it later. I'm not going to go into it, but a phenomenal, perfect hit by Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, absolutely was. Absolutely was. Yeah, you can't really fault Justin on that. It's not like he threw interceptions. He only took 1 sack in the whole game, and he had no chance of getting away from Alex Highsmith on that play. Alex just absolutely dusted Fashanu. And I thought he might have been one of our strongest defenders in the game. We'll get to that, though. I think that Justin Fields represented himself very well in the game. A lot of very accurate and tight throws. Even his first touchdown pass, he dropped it right in there. Slay didn't have awful coverage on the play. He was a step behind the guy, but that's normal trail technique. Just Justin dropped it right in there. You can't really defend it when they throw it that well.
Yep.
And while we're on the topic of quarterbacks, James alluded to it already. I want to give a shout out to our boy Renegade Rodgers. Aaron had a great performance. He spread the ball around, 4 different touchdown guys. Ben Skoranek being the first one. We were all saying who had that on their bingo card as the first touchdown for Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers this year being Ben Skoranek. But you saw him spread the ball well. You saw him look poised under a lot of pressure. If our O-line could have kept him upright a little more, we probably would have seen even more out of him. So if we can get that unit to gel a bit more, I think we're going to see a lot more out of Rodgers as the season continues.
And let's make the bounce over real quick. I don't even think we can blame the O-line. It's Broderick. Broderick Jones allowed 3 sacks, if I'm not mistaken, and Kenneth Gainwell allowed the 4th. Which
and
why have Kenneth Gainwell pass block when we have Jalen Warren, who's a freaking demon at it? Like,
the other person I will mention, though, will be Isaac Seumalo. I do believe he has slowed down a decent bit. I saw him getting bullied by, is it Quinnen Williams? I believe
Quinnen Williams. Yeah.
Just got bullied by him for a lot of the game. So I think honestly, the younger, more inexperienced guys in McCormick, Frazier, and Fautanu looked pretty solid out there. I won't say they were perfect, but they looked better than the veteran guy and Broderick, who's been with us for longer than the rest of them. So I'm proud of those young guys, but it's looking rough in some of those other spaces.
Yeah, that was my concern with Seumalo coming into the year, is that he's always been very good, but he's not the most physical guard in the league. So when he goes up against those huge, mauling, really physical defensive tackles, how will he hold up? Well, he got pushed around in this game, but no more than Broderick did. In both of them, the thing that was in common was it was Quinnen Williams over and over, just giving these two more than they could handle play after play. That had a large part to do with why the running game was so bad in this game, is that Quinnen Williams was just blowing it up over and over. They couldn't move him. They couldn't get around him. They couldn't get through him. And it just basically shut down the entire left side. So they got to figure something out, because this is not going to be the only big physical defensive tackle that Pittsburgh plays all year.
No.
If Seumalo can't handle this, there might need to be another plan involved on these games where you intend on running the ball heavily. And I don't know that they're willing to throw Spencer Anderson out there right away like that, but maybe you have to start sprinkling them in and see if you have better success running the ball with Spencer out there.
Do you think with the addition of the Jonnu Smith tight end and having Darnell and Pat now, those 3, do you think there's any scenario where Pittsburgh rolls out with a 6th offensive lineman again?
I think if Darnell Washington gets injured, we'll see it regularly. But I think they have so much faith in Darnell's blocking ability that they won't do that unless he goes down. But if he goes down, he's the only truly really good blocking tight end that we have.
Correct.
Pat's at least serviceable. Jonnu's not awful. Connor is not good blocking. Especially after the play's over. So that's the scenario that I see it. But I do wonder, they're going to give Broderick a chance to get this turned around. And I honestly thought as the game went along, he played better. He just struggled very mightily in the first half of this game. But it did seem to calm down in the second half of the game. If he continues struggling that much, how long do you wait before you throw Calvin Anderson in or Andres Pete?
Well,
that's the reason they're on this team.
Well, that was my thought. This is his 3rd year with us now?
Yeah.
Yep.
So at this point, you're a highly paid professional athlete. Do your job. You're actually now back at your position that you played in college. So not that everything's going to immediately be better, but I feel like we should have seen a bigger presence from him, and we didn't. And so to me, I'm like, how much more are we going to tolerate this before we start throwing in other guys? Because to me, this is just, at this point, you're not doing your job. You're not proving to us that you should be here. And with some of the talk from training camp and what was going on in the preseason and his attitude in preseason, I'm over it. I've never been Team Broderick Jones. So I was like a little hopeful with him moving back to the left side that we would see something different, and we just haven't. So that's how I feel. I know he's still on the team, but I would like to see Anderson kind of step in and see what we could come up with that, because how many points are we going to have to forge for us to finally make a change?
Yep, and I think you should be grateful that we have an early bye week, because if he struggles this bad all 4 first weeks, I could see them making the change at the bye week and coming out week 6 with Calvin Anderson.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate that at all. I think that bye week gives him the opportunity to get the reps in that he would need. I'm hoping that Broderick can turn around, because this is the one time I'm on Team Broderick. I've never really been. I want to see him turn around. I want to see him be able to take that time in his natural spot to come back to it. He did have, granted, a very tough matchup, but again, it's like Jill said, it's still your job. So you're going to have to start proving it at some point. And I don't know who the Seahawks have that he'll be lining up against this week, honestly. And that'll be more of the pregame show for that. But I'd like to see him learn from this mistake and hopefully go forward.
Yeah, looking at this, I'm not trying to get off topic because we're going to talk about this game a lot more. There's a lot of things to discuss. We have Seattle Seahawks, we have New England Patriots, we have the Minnesota Vikings, the next 3 games before the bye. None of those teams, in my mind, have amazing, phenomenal overall defenses. You could argue there's some good defensive linemen in there that might give Broderick some issues. And I think you're right, James. If we continue to have those issues out of Broderick, that week 5, having that bye week is a great time to try to let someone else practice with the ones in that left tackle position and see what they can do, because we can't allow 4 sacks every single game all season. Aaron Rodgers will not survive.
Right.
So.
And I believe there's a week or so after that too, that we have like a mini bye, and that we play a Thursday night game and then we play a later game thereafter. I think it's maybe leading up to the Green Bay game, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So that would
Thursday night, week 7 against the Bengals, and then Sunday night, week 8 against the Packers.
So that gives us a little bit more time to hopefully get, if we do need a replacement, that person up to speed as we need. So the schedule fits it if we need it. I'm just hoping that we don't.
Yeah.
Looks like the lineup that's going to be tough for him is going to probably be Boye Mafe. That looks to be their best pass rusher. Looks like they're a 4-3 where all 4 defensive linemen are over 300 pounds, with one of them being 355. So
buddy,
that might not be the easiest thing in the world, trying to move these bad boys in the middle of that defense.
Yeah.
Just don't let him get to Aaron. That's all I care about.
That's true. And so let's talk about it real quick. Aaron Rodgers, let's finish up this conversation. 22 of 30, phenomenal completion percentage, 244 yards, 8.1 average, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Again, the 4 sacks for a loss of 26 yards. And those touchdown passes, we'll get to this as well. But on the receiving end, you had Calvin Austin getting one. Calvin Austin had himself a game. We'll get to that. Ben Skoranek on the receiving end of the first one. His one and only catch and target. Jonnu Smith on the receiving end of a touchdown pass, even though it was more of like a toss.
It was a forward pass.
It was. And then Jaylen Warren also getting a receiving touchdown. So I love to see, different guys being involved. And the benefit is you're not going to know who to cover or double cover moving forward. I mean, our 2 biggest targets in my mind, being DK Metcalf and still probably Pat Freiermuth, didn't get touchdowns this game.
Nope.
So, I mean, that's going to be an amazing thing to have all these guys that can catch and contribute and all this stuff. And we talked about the depth going into the season, but now you're truly seeing it. I mean, if Scotty Miller would have gotten a couple tosses here, I would have said this was a perfect game. I mean, you know what I mean? As far as from receiving standpoint, whatever, Darnell Washington is.
Darnell,
They were like double covering him, which I thought was interesting, seeing as how
because he's such a mismatch.
But it's because he's so massive, which then, again, I feel like we're not utilizing our targets the way that we could be. So it's like you see, they're going to double, Washington. That opens up DK Metcalf to actually receive. And I'm like, this is amazing. We have all these targets.
Yep. My perfect situation would have Jaylen Warren in the backfield and Darnell and John. Unfortunately, this perfect formation keeps Pat off the field. But I would love to see Darnell and Jonnu out there because of the double teams to Darnell, and then have Calvin Austin and DK Metcalf. You got one speedster, you got one incredibly tall receiver, you've got practically another receiver there, and then you got Darnell, who you throw him the ball, let him fall forward, we're getting 5 yards. And then Jalen Warren with the mix up in the backfield, or even flex him out. I don't know. I mean, the capabilities and the potential of this offense get me so excited, and I can't sleep without thinking about it. But I want to see some better. I don't want to say play calling, because I actually was fairly happy with the play calling this game. I can't attack that too much. But I think as they get in rhythm, they're going to start taking more shots downfield. They're going to start moving the ball a little bit more effectively on the ground, hopefully. And then once we open up that run game, we had so many play action plays that did so well this game, and we couldn't even run the ball.
And if you don't mind, I might even transition to the run game there, because as we're talking about mismatches and the run game not being very effective, like it seemed to me like that's the whole reason that Kenneth Gainwell seems to be outpacing Jalen Warren in that game, in the run game, because everybody sees Jalen out there. They know he's going to be the back, so they attack the run. Gainwell gets out there and he scampers for a couple because they're not expecting a run. So it's like we have these opportunities to use other guys in other ways. And I think that's a lot of what opened up different things for us in this game, is they're expecting one thing, we do another, and then that allows us to be able to get more yards on plays we wouldn't expect. So it was really cool to see that, when we haven't seen that with Pittsburgh for so long, because we became so one-dimensional for so long, that it was just, oh, here's another check down, diagnose that. Now Rodgers is able to get down the field either to Muth or DK or Skoranek or Warren or you name it, and it opens up everything for us. And I think once the line can kind of start to gel a bit better, we'll see the run game open up too, and I think that will really open the rest of it for us.
Yeah, and I want to make sure we emphasize, Warren had a better game than Gainwell. I think Gainwell at some point looked like he was going to run better, looked like he was finding some holes, and then they shut him down real quick. He only averaged 2.7. Jalen Warren ended up averaging 3.4 with a 9-yard as his longest run. And I like seeing Warren more, because there's a dual threat with Warren that I don't think you have with Kenneth Gainwell, because Warren can pass block so well. The threat of a pass is still there. After watching Kenneth Gainwell get blown up and allow a sack, I don't want to see him in there pass blocking again, ever. I just don't want to see it. Unless Jalen Warren teaches him how to be a man. I don't want to see it at all.
Well, and pass blocking isn't really what you bring Gainwell in for, but like he blew up that play on special teams, and then Skoranek gets the ball, and then we get another touchdown. So like they're used situationally in different aspects for what their strengths are. Gainwell's not a pass blocking guy. Warren is. So I
guess that's that's what I'm saying, is that why was he in their pass blocking that allowed a sack? That's my frustration. Kind of from that.
Right.
So.
And that's the difficult thing there, is that Gainwell's specialty is more as a receiver. But if you're a receiver, you do have to stay in and block sometimes. If you're a running back, you can't always go out for a pass. Otherwise, it's very predictable. So he will have to stay in sometimes if we're going to utilize him at what he's best at. And just real briefly, I wanted to wrap things up real quick on the passing game. Of the 4 passing touchdowns, 3 of them were off of play action. And the only one that wasn't was the shuffle pass to Jonnu Smith.
Which was basically a run anyways.
Yeah, which was basically a run play anyway. And I'm excited because things, even as well as the passing game went, it was still a couple of things here and there that didn't go perfect that they're going to get on the same page with. There was a throw that went incomplete over the middle of the field to Jonnu Smith, where he kind of broke it off and stopped going deep. And you could see Rodgers saying, keep going deep. The safeties were split. He could have had 25, 30 yards right over the middle of the field if he would have kept stretching it right down the middle. And they're going to get on the same page with that. And when they do, 240 yards is going to be a bad passing game instead of a good one, which is awesome.
Well, and Calvin Austin on that one play where he got held too. If they don't hold him, he's gone for a touchdown, like you said, James. So there's things that are there that we just didn't get because of things like that. So we'll see it happen for sure, and it's exciting to have that on our fingertips and hopefully coming soon.
And at what point did Calvin Austin all of a sudden become a contested catch monster? This dude is just going over top of people that are 6-7 inches taller than him and out jumping them for the ball. I love what I'm seeing out of him in this first game here. We didn't get to see it in the preseason because of him having some nagging injuries. But my Lord, I thought he played incredible in this game.
I mean, I feel like that's a good talking point to see like how many targets he had last season versus what we'll see this season. Because something we've talked about before, like he just wasn't utilized often.
Yeah.
So did we actually know what he was capable of doing because we didn't target him? So we're actually targeting him. He's fighting for his targets. I think we're going to see hopefully more targets from him. I'm excited. I never had any doubt of his receiving ability. So I'm excited to see him get going this season.
Yeah, and honestly, I was super impressed too with the DK's ability after the catch.
Yes.
I mean, I know how
Yes.
fast he is. Everybody knows how fast he is. But boy, is he sudden with those first couple steps. He gets up to top speed fast.
Yeah.
Like that is an underrated thing that we just have not seen. Any guys that we've had that have been big receivers have not been sudden. They've not been quick with their change of direction and their ability to get up to top speed.
It's
Holy
the
cow,
sugar
man.
rush. It's
Yeah.
the sugar rush. The man eats a whole party-sized bag of Skittles every day.
That's fantastic. Let him do it. Is that just a Seattle thing? Because Marshawn Lynch used to do
Marshawn,
that.
I think that's where he got it originally.
Probably.
But yeah, I mean that's a confirmed. That's his diet. He eats like one meal and then a bag of Skittles a day. It's crazy.
The way he looks, I'm not going to question it.
Yeah,
can afford to, yeah.
I'm like Skittles needs to start advertising some like body performance stuff and just have DK as their sponsor. Because it would probably sell. With that being said, I mean, we're done with the passing game, correct? As far as quarterback,
Yeah.
we're kind of moved on. Are we running backs? Jalen Warren, 11 carries, 37 yards. Kenneth Gainwell, 7 for 19. Caleb Johnson, 1 for -2. Unfortunately, not a great opportunity for him. But again, I'm happy he probably didn't get beat up too much in this game. I want him to still have some motivation and excitement. DK Metcalf in the passing game, 4 receptions, 83 yards, 20.8 average. Hello, keep that up. That's amazing when you process the number of times we threw it to him at the line of scrimmage. That's the part that's kind of impressive to me. Calvin Austin, 4 for 70 and a touchdown. Pat Freiermuth, 3 for 28. Ben Skoranek, 1 for 22 and a touchdown. Jalen Warren, 2 for 22 and a touchdown. Jonnu Smith, 5 for 15 and a touchdown. And then Kenneth Gainwell had 3 catches for 4 yards. Nothing too crazy from there. But, man, I love seeing the number of guys average double-digit yards per carry. You had 4 of the 7 guys targeted with double-digit yards per carry, yards for reception, which is averaging over a first down every freaking completion. So I love to see that. I feel like it's been a while since Pittsburgh's been able to drive the ball down the field like that. Again, James, you probably were right. Russell probably had a good game last year, similar to that. But to see that performance from Aaron when he didn't, I was worried about, him not playing in preseason and stuff like that. And we'll get to that conversation later. It was concerning to me. It was very concerning to me to see these guys. James, people that are listening to the show are going to wonder what dog is crying in the background.
Something in my throat, sorry.
But let's take a bounce. We talked about offensive line now. Do you guys want to hop to the defensive side of the ball now?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't want to talk about the O-line because they were not that great.
And we did a little bit.
Yeah,
we covered it.
Yeah. So defensive side of the ball, huh? The defensive line got pushed around pretty badly in this game. I thought the only guy that consistently won was Cam Hayward. So thank God you paid him. I also thought Y.A. Black held his own more often than got pushed around, but it seemed like both Keanu Benton and Isaiah Loudermilk got pushed around pretty badly. Aquale's first few snaps were bad, and then he tightened things up and started being a little more stiff against the run. But it seemed like we only had 2 defensive linemen who could stop the run in this game. At one point in time, I saw a replay of a play where the right tackle, the rookie Membu for the Jets, went to go and engage Loudermilk in a run block, and Loudermilk straight up sidestepped him, which put him just pancaking for Patrick Queen, who was standing behind him, which is the last thing you're supposed to do as a defensive lineman. You're supposed to soak that up so the linebacker stays clean. So I hope that Y.A. Black earns more reps because I think if you want to stop the run in the future until Derek Harmon comes back, you can't continue marching someone out there like Isaiah Loudermilk, who unfortunately was part of the problem, not part of the solution. That's why he got a 1-year veteran minimum deal. He's not a solution to stopping the run. So if you continue having issues stopping the run, you got to stop marching them out there.
Yeah.
Just like Jill has never been on the Broderick Jones train, I have never been on the Isaiah Loudermilk train, and this is exactly why. I do not think he has the capability to stop most linemen out there. It's as evidenced by what you said, sidestepping an offensive lineman, a rookie offensive lineman no less, is not something that you can be doing in a professional football game. Like, that's your job. Like Jill said, if you're not going to go out there and do your job, why are you there? So,
and if you're going to do that, you better make the tackle, and he didn't.
Yep.
The one thing that I'm going to say about YA Black and the Cam Hayward comparison is I looked back earlier and watched a lot of the replays, mostly from the highlights, so I didn't see every play. The concerning part for me was on almost every play that they showed a highlight of, Cam Hayward's one-on-one with somebody and not winning, and they're double teaming YA. So, and then that I'm not saying that was the whole game. I'm saying that's a large portion of the highlights that the NFL posted on the NFL YouTube channel. I don't have access to go back and watch the entire game. If I did, I'd be sitting here all night long, breaking stuff down just kind of out of concern and frustration of how close this game was, that I don't feel it should have been this close. Mm-hmm. But on a lot of them, Cam Hayward was one-on-one with somebody and not even putting up a fight. I mean, obviously he's trying, but that raised a red flag and a little bit of concern for me. And James, I know I see your face. He did have a good game. There was a couple times where he got some penetration. But if you look back on the replays, it's almost impressive and concerning all at the same time because of how much attention YA is getting as a rookie. And then seeing Cam go up one-on-one and not getting the penetration that I feel like he should have been able to get on this O-line. But again, overall, the defensive front didn't play phenomenal. Alex Highsmith, we'll bounce out to those edge rushers real quick. Alex Highsmith had the one sack on the day. And I felt like in the second half, him and TJ got a second engine going. I felt like TJ was playing with a lot of anger and aggression. I saw him multiple times do the same thing. And we actually saw Alex Highsmith do it successfully, which I love, which was run down the line of scrimmage behind the tackles and guards to get a run in the opposite direction. TJ was a hair too far behind a couple times to get someone near the line of scrimmage or behind it. Alex Highsmith was able to actually do it once, and I was very impressed with that ability.
Yeah, I think that both Highsmith and TJ really demonstrated their run-stopping capabilities in this game. But just to kind of rewind and not end on a slanderous note on Cam Hayward, he was very tough against the run in this game. So there may have been some successful run plays his way, but there were a multitude of plays that he made behind the line of scrimmage, just blowing up run plays. And I thought that those three were the only ones consistently doing anything against the run. So obviously you don't win every single rep, but Cam definitely put his mark on this game as far as being stout against the run multiple times. But yeah, I mean, you saw with TJ, he got sick of them running this read option.
He did.
There's a reason that the read option is a college offense and not typically run in the pros. And it's because it's very hazardous for the quarterback because the quarterback is not protected because he is also a runner on the play or a potential runner on every single rep that you run it. It is perfectly legal to lay out the quarterback on every single play. It is actually a strategy employed by many teams where one person is just responsible for hitting the quarterback on every time that they run the play, no matter who's got the ball. So TJ just lit him up to let him know, hey, you can keep doing it, but your quarterback's probably not going to survive the game.
Yeah.
And they did kind of change their strategy a little bit after that to not run it quite as much because honestly, there isn't a QB in the league that can take a full strength, full speed hit from TJ like that over and over and make it through a game. So sometimes just a play like that where it doesn't even show up in the stat column because he hit a guy that didn't even have the ball perfectly legally, that makes a huge impact on a game because you have to change your strategy or you might get your starting quarterback injured.
Not to comment on the Cam Hayward thing too much, but you're telling me he didn't win a rep? Fire Tomlin. It's over. Fire Tomlin.
Fire Tomlin. It's
Three solo tackles says he was at least something.
Fire Tomlin. Cody's face is just priceless.
There were multiple times when I claimed I had an issue with the coaching, and I didn't always say it was Tomlin.
I'm also not just calling out Cody. I know plenty of Steelers fans who are calling for Tomlin's firing after many parts of this game. So that was addressed to many people out there, not just Cody.
Public.
General public is right. No, I mean the layout hit by TJ was exciting to see whether Justin had the ball or not. You know, that was TJ saying, "Yes, Justin, you were a former teammate. Yes, you're having a good game. Yes, I'm still gonna give you hell." Is basically what that was. And I wish it would have flustered Justin a little bit more. I wish he would have like thrown a pick or something after that. But he didn't, and that's fine.
Speaking though of hits that did fluster the Jets on Justin Fields, transitioning maybe to the cornerback room too. Jalen Ramsey had that one hit early in the game that drew some attention from and got penalties for us from the Jets offensive linemen when they came in and then had an issue with it. So that's the kind of aggression that we talked about before when Jalen had that penalty in the preseason that I was hoping to see be more productive. And it was in this game, in my opinion. There was a time when he got a bogus penalty too, but I thought Jalen really did a good job of using his ability to trash talk to sort of get us a slight edge in that game, as we mentioned a little bit when we talked about the Dak Prescott situation earlier. Like that's an element of the game, is being able to get guys off their step, to get guys to do something that they shouldn't be doing, to be able to get yourself an advantage either offensively or defensively. So it's great to be able to see Jalen be able to use that skill set that he has in a constructive way as opposed to a negative way.
He's just gonna walk that line. It's a real fine line when you roll as an antagonist before it gets you in trouble, and he walked it pretty well in this game. I love his flop. It was a perfect execution when that lineman came over to retaliate and hit him. Man, he sold it like a basketball player, man. He just dove like he just got absolutely crushed, and he was barely touched, and it got the 15-yard penalty, and it helped kill the drive. So you got to give him credit. Like Tomlin said, I'm glad he's on our side.
Yeah.
Y'all want to talk middle linebackers?
That's where I was going to go. We kind of bounced over middle linebackers, and I think that kind of says a lot. I do think Patrick Queen was very involved in the game, recording 8 tackles, if I'm not mistaken, and 1 QB hit. However, there was not much other than that from the middle linebacker crew. No, I mean, nothing crazy. Peyton Wilson had an almost mute game. We didn't really see a whole lot from Brains Fried.
Malik Harrison did get injured, so I think that might be why we didn't see a lot out of him this game. I believe they said it was a knee injury. I can't recall for certain, but
it is.
I was excited to see him do more, but I don't recall what point in the game he got hurt. But I think that also speaks to what we're already talking about, in that the linebackers didn't have a very flashy game. No. I saw Peyton Wilson pick a guy up at one point, but it was after he had scampered for 6 yards. So, I mean, like, you can stop him, but you got to stop him sooner. So, it's impressive to see you lift a guy in the air. I just want you to see you do that at or behind the line.
And I think it comes back to the D-line keeping them clean, right? If the D-line can keep these guys off of them, then these two can flow and do their jobs appropriately. Queen, I thought, had a real nice game in coverage, and as Cody pointed out, was just inches away from interceptions multiple times. Yep. So that's only a matter of time before he converts those. And I just want to see the tackles on the other line of the scrimmage in the run game. I want to see somebody shoot through the line and hit the running back before he can get to his offensive lineman. And that's a middle linebacker's job. That's the guys that make that play. That's what we used to see with Ryan Shazier all the time. And we really haven't seen it since. I feel like we have 2 guys that can do it. So I think once this all gets figured out with the defensive line, then we'll see a little bit more splash from the middle linebackers. But right now they're just fighting for their lives, trying to get off of blocks all game long and not playing clean. So it's frustrating to not see more plays from them, but I understand because the guys in front of them were just getting beat up so bad.
Yeah. Cornerback room, bounce back over there now. Darius Slay, we talked about the touchdown given up earlier. I think the bigger concern that we had with Darius Slay happened later on in the game. I don't actually remember what it was now, but I know there was something else.
He almost got into another fight.
No, there was something we were messaging about it during the game because we were talking about, while we also bounced over the Connor Hayward thing a little bit, which I was almost frustrated with that late hit, not because of the late hit, but because it wasn't a late hit. It was still before the whistle. It was during the play, and I think it almost shouldn't have been flagged. It was a dirty move. Yes. Should it have been flagged? I don't think so. But
he hit him in the back, though.
I thought he hit him more in the shoulder.
It was in the back. He went diving face forward when he hit him. So if you're not getting him for a penalty for doing it after the play is over, you're getting him a penalty for blocking him in the back. So he's got to know better than that. I get it. He's frustrated. He's been kind of the whipping boy for everybody's frustration for Cam. A lot of people are taking it out on Connor, but that doesn't help, man. That makes it worse.
Yeah.
Slay did make up for some of his less than spectacular play through the game by breaking up a pass in the end zone late in the game. And it wasn't even intended for his guy. He peeled off in the back right corner of the end zone and broke it up.
That was a 2-point conversion attempt.
That was a 2-point conversion attempt, and we won by 2 points.
His saving grace.
Yeah. So as much as he may have not had his best game, in the most crucial moment, he made a big play. I'm a little more worried about the other guys in this group, though. Joey Porter had a hamstring tighten up on him, did not come back in the game. It doesn't sound like it was a tear or a pull or anything. It sounds like it just tightened up, and they pulled him just to be careful to make sure it didn't get worse. Yeah. But will he be ready for next week? We're not going to know for a little while. And then more worried than that is the Deshaun Elliott injury. Yep. He goes down with a knee injury early in this game. I think Chuck Clark is a capable safety, but it's definitely a step down from what Deshaun Elliott is. It doesn't look to me like this is going to be a significant, like an ACL tear or anything. I wouldn't be surprised if this is another MCL sprain and he misses a month, maybe, a month and a half, something like that. But even at that case,
it's all month missing.
Yeah, we might be looking at Sebastian Castro getting called up from the practice squad because I think he's going to miss at least 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah,
I believe the initial reports did say MCL sprain. I could be wrong on that. But also what I was seeing was that, and I think Tomlin might have even alluded at it too, saying that this is where Jalen kind of comes in as a versatile guy. You're going to see him drop back a lot more to safety. You might see a lot more of Eccles. Maybe Bishop gets elevated from the practice squad.
I'm on Bishop.
So we'll see what happens there. But I believe that we've got the guys that they're going, and who knows, maybe we'll see another practice squad signing. But I believe that the guys that we see are the guys that are going to be elevated to make that switch. So that's what I've been hearing from my sources, to quote the Pat McAfee show. But from what I've seen, it doesn't sound like it's overly serious. Hopefully that is indeed the case. Yeah. And we'll be able to see him back soon.
The way he walked off, he was able to put full pressure on that leg. So that's a really good indication that it wasn't like a major tear or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm a little worried because, you can put Jalen Ramsey back there and I think he can play safety just fine. But if Joey Porter's missing too, now we're starting Brandon Eccles. Now we're moving Beanie Bishop into the starting lineup. And that's where the drop-off starts to come as far as quality of play. So I worry more about it if Joey Porter is going to miss time. If he's not going to miss time, then you got Slay and Porter still starting on the outsides, and you're not in the worst shape in the world. I think Eccles is fine as your number 3.
And we will have Tomlin update injuries tomorrow in a press conference. So we'll probably post or share something from that when that happens as well. But then back to the Slay miscue. The second miscue was the not holding containment on the outside run for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
That was the other big issue that I had with him during that game, which again, it's week 1. Mm-hmm. All the kinks weren't worked out in preseason. It's okay. We'll get there. But overall, the cornerback room and safety room, injury-wise, is drastically by far the biggest concern. Jalen Ramsey flirting with that line a little bit, I think, is fun and exciting. He reminds me a lot of Joey Porter back in the day. Mm-hmm. Joey Porter flirted with that line. Joey Porter got us some good calls. So I almost love to see that. And honestly, it's cool because during training camp, I talked about this a few episodes ago. Maybe it was last episode, that a lot of the guys from previous teams came in and hung out. They do that every year, but there was a group of them that met and did a YouTube video that was really cool online to hear them talk about the defense and the style that they played. That Jalen Ramsey's reminded me a lot of that 2008 style defense that I'm going to knock you in the mouth and then jab in your, chat in your ear a little bit to get in these guys' head. The thing that I liked the most was after the game, you did see him and Garrett Wilson kind of dap it up and say, hey, respect whatever they said. So it's cool to see Jalen be able to do that as well. But if he is now going to be the guy, running number one or safety, whatever it's going to be, I'm really curious to see what Pittsburgh's going to do and who they might pull up. Like you said, Sebastian Castro, which I'm sure all of us would be excited to see, but also concerned to see at the same time.
Right.
Would be very interesting.
I'll tell you what, Pittsburgh looks like absolute geniuses on the Minka trade now. Because here's the Dolphins getting blown out in week 1. They got no corners at all on that team. And we've got Jalen who can fill in 3 different places wherever he's needed and pulled off the win in week 1.
John got the touchdown.
John Smith contributing,
touchdown. Jalen Ramsey sealed the game with a hit. This looks like it was a pretty good trade for Pittsburgh early on here.
Better and better.
Minka did have 9 tackles on the game for them, and he was third on the list. He was third on the list because defense was on the field so much. They had a guy record 14 and another guy record 13 tackles respectively. And I'm pretty sure they're all secondary guys.
Daniel Jones, for crying out loud. They made Daniel Jones look like Dan Marino. That is a problem.
Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones, baby.
Yeah.
We can bounce over to special teams real quick. Caleb Johnson did have 1 fumble on a kickoff, and luckily somebody hopped on it. I don't remember who hopped on it. It might have been Skoranek.
He got his own.
Did he get his own?
Oh,
yeah. Gainwell got his own, and Caleb's, I forget who recovered his.
Okay. So yeah, Caleb and Gainwell both had fumbles, but the returns weren't horrible. I just wish we'd have one big. I want to see one decent return to like the 45 every game. I just feel like the kickoff, the new way the kickoff is, that's something that we could possibly see every game. And then Corliss Waitman on the punting had 4 punts, 190 yards. One of them inside the 20 and 50 was his long. I thought he did a fairly good job.
Yeah, one shank at the end. Outside of that was real good.
Yeah. So, anything else you guys want to talk about before we kind of dive into some other things with this game recap?
I think we ought to give credit to Kenny Gainwell and Ben Skoranek after getting that touchdown to close the gap. Gainwell made the hit on the kick return, man. Skoranek jumped on the fumble. So you get a little bit of something that you don't normally see when a running back forcing a fumble on a kick coverage unit and then your wide receiver recovering it. But Skoranek really showing up in ways that we didn't necessarily think he'd make the impact of. But awesome on special teams and the first touchdown of the game for Pittsburgh, too.
Mm-hmm.
He had a couple good hits on special teams as well outside of their fumble recovery that were just great, too. So big shout out to Benny Score or whatever they call him on the team. They had a nickname.
I'm calling him Little Ben. I'm calling him Little Ben. We had Big Ben. It's now Little Ben.
At least give him a medium-sized Ben. Come on now.
I mean, he's not that
Dude,
big though.
Dude's like 6'3", 215.
But he's skinny. He's little. Big Ben was Big Ben.
Yeah, it wasn't because of muscle though.
Yeah, I know. Let's talk about. I mean, we kind of went over all the injuries. Cam Hayward did have the one eye poke, which kind of kept him out for a little bit. He was ticked off about it.
Yeah, he was. Because honestly, what are you doing with your fingers in somebody else's face mask?
And how is it not getting called?
It's an illegal hands to the face if it happens. So, should have been called. He missed the, I think it was the touchdown play, but then they went for 2 and he was in on that and actually helped with the stop. So he should be perfectly fine in the future. But the other 3 are the injuries we already talked about with Deshaun Elliott's knee, Malik Harrison's knee, and Joey Porter Jr. with that hamstring. Again, seems like it only was a tightening as far as what they're describing it. Cam Hayward's eye being poked, I don't expect him to miss any time at all. Maybe a couple days of practice if they feel like being nice. Then the transaction after the game, we just got a transaction today on the practice squad, Cody.
Yeah. Steelers did release Lance McCutcheon from the practice squad and signed Raheem Jarrett to the practice squad. That's a receiver for a receiver. Jarrett, having formerly played with Tampa Bay, he has on his career 20 targets, 13 catches for 184 yards. So not too bad of stats for being a fourth string wide receiver, whatever.
Yeah, he's got a couple starts under his belt. Only a couple years in the league. 5'11" and 7/8, so he's almost 6 foot tall, 197 pounds. Ran a 4.44 40 when he came out, so he's got some good speed. 35.5-inch vert, shows some suddenness and some ability to change direction probably. So we'll see if he gets any opportunity. It does make me wonder if there's some kick return capability there because we didn't have any wide receivers go down. So the move for a different wide receiver usually means there's some kind of interest going on there. Maybe he's got some experience as a gunner and they're trying to be proactive for after the 3 elevations of James Pierre, what they're going to do next.
Yeah, that could very well be the case. I did want to point out after the game, Patrick Queen was not shying away from the fact that they did not play well. He basically said, and I quote, "We played like shit." And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the reconciliation, or not the reconciliation. What am I thinking?
Recognition.
Recognizing. I don't know why I'm saying words. The recognizing of
for forgiveness.
Yeah, exactly. Recognizing how poorly they played. And coming from him, I feel like in watching him get those so close pass breakups and so close interceptions, I feel like that was a lot of self diagnosis as well. Like I played like shit, and so did the team, but it was nice to see him come out and say that, because that defense allowing 32 points to the Jets is not gonna win any more games this year if we keep playing like that. So
no, but there was a lot of unknowns with the Jets. So I feel like we went into this game, I feel like we have to give the Jets at least a little bit more credit because they have a new coach. Like we knew their line was going to be good. So yeah, I don't want to see 32 points on one of the highest paid defense in the league, but it is week 1. Like, I feel like we extend grace in certain positions and then we don't in others. So I'm like, we're going to let the O-line click and figure it out, well, then we got to let the D-line click and figure it out too,
Yeah, and you're not going to face quarterbacks with the rushing ability of Justin Fields every week.
Correct.
There's only a couple guys like that in the entire league. Now we will see one of them in our division twice with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
But he's really about the only other guy in the league that can move like that. So that's just a whole nother wild card. But good practice because what you see with Justin Fields, you're going to see again with Lamar, except Lamar's a better thrower.
Right.
yeah,
And
James.
the Ravens
Go ahead, Joe.
I said, and the Ravens are a better team, but
It also makes me want to improve our run defense because with the Ravens also comes Derrick Henry. So you're not going to see a lesser level of play from Derrick Henry than you are from Breece Hall. So seeing that was concerning, and hopefully we'll be able to tighten that up as well. And again, week 1, the Jets played well. Our defense at times did not. So it'll definitely, hopefully, be a learning experience. There's film to go over. There's areas and techniques which can be improved. But another thing that Tomlin highlighted is the youth of our defense right now and the youth of some of these new Steelers. He used the term new Steelers a lot to mention both guys that came to us and guys that were drafted. Our backup offensive, or our backup outside linebacker was Jack Sawyer. He's a rookie. We didn't have Y.A. Black, who was one of our rotational starters to fill the hole for Harmon. And Harmon, when he comes back, they're rookies.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some experience that's gained through these games. There's going to be things to learn from and upward trajectory that hopefully will continue throughout the season.
Yeah. And speaking of other things after the game, DK was also interviewed by an ESPN reporter and said that he was mad at himself for the drops. So the self-awareness and self-diagnosis of issues that the team had for individual players and the team is nice to see. And I'm really excited to see what they can do week 2, because quite frankly, after watching the Bengals play as poorly as they just did against the Browns, this could be an explosive game for Pittsburgh.
DK revenge game incoming.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts for you guys?
That's it. As excited as Aaron Rodgers was to try to put up as many points as he possibly could against the Jets, that's what DK is going to be for Seattle. So we're going to have a very highly motivated DK Metcalf this upcoming week, and we're going to tell you all about it on Saturday morning's show.
Yeah, we will.
Tune in.
Yeah, we will.
Tune in.
So we can't thank you guys enough for listening or watching. Don't forget to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe, ring the bell. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Don't forget the 5-star reviews and Apple Podcasts. Make James very happy. And until next time, this is your host, James, Cody, and Nick and Jill from Ohio, signing off.
Peace.